my YouTube channel. I am Ilmi Mufidatul Jannah. On this occasion, I would like to invite you to discuss some concepts in statistics that often used in the research. So, in this video, we will cover the 5 main points that we have to understand in statistics. The first is correlation research. The second is t-test. The third is analysis of variance or ANOVA. The fourth is validity. And the fifth is reliability, which focus on Qur'an alpha and iterator reliability. We will discuss each point in depth, which is this time there is uniqueness that distinguishes from the explanation of statistic material in general. So, this time the material will not only focus on understanding the 5 points, but also we will discuss the 5 points that have a corresponding relationship in the Qur'an. Interesting, isn't it? So, without any further ado, let's get started. Point 1. Talk about correlation research. The short definition of correlation research is a method to find out if there is a relationship between two or more variables and how strong the relationship is. It is not about direct causation, but more towards what goes along with what. However, a more detailed explanation of correlation research is known to have two main objectives, namely, first, explaining relationship means describing the direction, positive or negative, and strength of the relationship between variables in a group. Second, making prediction means estimating the extent to which change in one variable or predictor can explain change in another variable or criterion. For a simple example, when we imagine that we want to see the relationship between the level of intelligence or IQ and academic achievement, then correlation research will show whether students with high IQ tend to have high academic achievement and vice versa. Besides that, keep in mind that correlation research does not prove that one thing causes another. For the example, high IQ does not causes high achievement, but there is a strong relationship between the two. Then, correlation research has several special characteristics. Number 1, suitable for complex variables, which is very useful when the variables under study are too complex or cannot be manipulated in experiments. For example, the relationship between creativity and parenting. Number 2, simultaneous measurement means that we can measure several variables at once and see the relationship between them in a realistic setting. Lastly, determining the degree of relationship means the result is a correlation coefficient or a number between -1 and +1 that indicates how strong and unidirectional positive or oppositional negative the relationship is. Furthermore, correlation research also has three types of analysis. First, simple correlation, which measures between two variables only, such as learning motivation and learning outcomes. Second, multiple correlation, which measures the relationship between two or more independent variables with one dependent variable. For example, stress, health behavior, and previous health on future health. The last, partial correlation, which measures the relationship between two variables by controlling for the influence of a third variable. Well, from this explanation has relevance to the Qur'an Surah Al-Qamar verse 49, which shows that everything in this universe was created with measures and order, implying the existence of relationship and patterns that we can learn and understand through observation and research, including correlation research. Moving on to the second point, that is t-test. What is t-test? T-test was first developed by British chemist named William in 1908, who worked for the Guinness Company. After being published, the t-test has a main purpose and when it is used. The main purpose of the t-test is to help us determine whether the differences we observe between two groups are statistically significant or just coincidental. While for the use of the t-test is when we want to compare the means of two groups that are not related or independent, which the variable being measured must be continuous. For example, score, weight, and level of commitment. Next, for the simple example of t-test is comparing the performance of male and female college students or the difference in graduate management admission test or GMAT scores between undergraduate and graduate students. Besides that, the t-test has several important assumptions that must be fulfilled. It aims to make the t-test valid. Among them are: number one, the dependent variable must be on categorical independent variable or factor with 3 or more levels or groups and one quantitative dependent variable. Example: comparing the average learning time between 3 different learning methods or independent variables, method A, B, or C. Then, the main objective of ANOVA is determine whether the difference in means between groups is statistically significant. In ANOVA, there are some important prerequisites. First, the data must be random and normally distributed. Second, the variance between groups must be homogeneous. And last, the dependent variable data must be interval or ratio scaled. Then, ANOVA have two hypotheses, which are that null hypothesis means all group means are equal, and alternative hypothesis means at least one group mean is different. Next, move to the types of ANOVA. There are 3 types of ANOVA. First, one-way ANOVA, which means that there is one categorical independent variable or factor with 3 or more levels or groups and one quantitative dependent variable. Example: comparing the average learning time between 3 different learning methods or independent variables, method A, B, or C. Second, two-way ANOVA, which means that used when there are 2 categorical independent variables or factors and one quantitative dependent variable. Example: comparing rice yield as dependent variable based on rice variety or factor A and fertilizer type or factor B. Last, n-way ANOVA, which means that used for more than 2 categorical independent variables. So, from this explanation, we can conclude that we must always be objective in analyzing data. And this is in line with the Qur'an, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 8, which invite us text box. And the last step, click OK. Then you get the result of the data. From the explanation, we can understand that a valid instrument ensures that the data we collect is truly relevant to the research objectives. This is in line with the verse of the Qur'an Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 70, where this verse emphasizes the importance of correct and precise speech, which can be analogous to a valid research instrument which is able to measure precisely and correctly. Okay, we have come to the last point, which is about reliability. Reliability comes from the word reliable, which means trustworthy. In the context of research, reliability shows the extent to which the results of a measurement are free from random errors. The reliability test itself is a procedure carried out to assess the extent to which a research instrument, such as questionnaire, test, or measurement scale, is consistent in measuring what should be measured. Besides, the reliability test has several important reasons in research. 1. Increase trust in research results. 2. Ensure consistency. 3. Support validity. 4. Reduce bias. Furthermore, there are several types of reliability tests that are commonly used, such as test-retest reliability, parallel fault reliability, internal consistency reliability, which has 3 types of internal consistency tests, like Cronbach's alpha, split half reliability, Kuder-Richardson formula 20, and the last is iterator reliability. However, please note that in this discussion, I only focusing on explaining the Cronbach's alpha and iterator reliability. First, Cronbach's alpha is one of the internal consistency tests that measures the average correlation between items. Alpha value more than 0.7, which is usually considered reliable. Example, customer satisfaction questionnaire containing 20 questions. If all the questions are mutually consistent, that want to learn in the next. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video and bye-bye.